And I think for me, that's been really important too, is connecting to higher sources than just boys and their dicks. Like, I'm over y'all. And good luck to anybody trying to have sex with me at any point in the near future. Welcome to 2190's podcast, Asking for a Friend. I'm your host, Elisabeth Ovison, New York Times bestselling author, relationship columnist, and self-love strategist. All right, guys. So I am here today with my engineer, Alex. Hello, Alex.
What's up, Elisabeth? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good today. It's a great day.
It is a beautiful day. I'm happy to be here. But we have a little bit of bittersweet news.
Oh.
So Megan Good and Devon Franklin, they're getting a divorce. The reason why it's bittersweet is because it's sweet for me that Megan Good's back on the market.
Like you have a chance.
I know. I mean, could have been nice, but it's cool. But yeah, how do you feel about it?
I mean, listen, I love divorce. I think divorce, what do you look at it? Listen, I think that divorce is a necessary tool for people who shouldn't be married.
Okay.
So I love divorce as a solution and also as a form of self-care. I hate to see it for them. You know, I feel like they were cute as a couple. I think that they worked well as a couple. He's also a producer in Hollywood. They worked together on projects. So I feel like they made a good couple on the outside.
Yes.
So I hate to see it, of course.
Was really good.
You know what, Alex?
She's
forget about
she's a beautiful woman.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
But forget it.
All right.
But you know, Alex, I heard that before they were married, they chose to be celibate so that they wouldn't have sex at all before their special day.
Well, what if they don't have good chemistry?
Well, see, Devon is also a pastor, so maybe they didn't do it before they got married. I don't know. I don't know their personal
that makes sense.
Things, right? Okay. But Devon is or was a pastor as well as an executive in Hollywood. And I heard that before they tie the knot, they decided to be celibate. Have you ever been celibate?
Yes. Before I lost my virginity.
Get out of here. And what age were you when that happened?
See, I'm from New York. We start a little early out there, so...
Well, I want to talk about celibacy today. And first, as always, I'm going to give you a definition of it.
Let's hear it.
The state of abstaining from sexual relations. Very cut and dry there. Have you ever abstained?
Yeah.
What? Since you've been sexually active, what is the longest you've gone without having sex?
Maybe 3 months.
All right, 90 days doesn't count. Okay, cool. So listen.
90. Some people get married, 90-day fiance and stuff like
and
that.
Look how that works. That doesn't count.
All right.
So I've actually now I think I've mentioned this to you before, but I'm in my second year of celibacy.
Yeah, I still don't understand that.
What do you mean?
Like, how you not going crazy?
Because it's like any other detox.
Okay.
After you get past the first couple of weeks, it just doesn't matter anymore.
Really? Mm-hmm. So the sexual urge
completely gone.
Wow.
I'm literally, I'm a nun. I feel like my body doesn't work anymore. No, that's not true. It's not that the sexual urge is not there. It's just that I don't know. It's just not important. It doesn't register. Maybe I'm sure I have it. I'm sure if I thought about it, I would, but I don't think about it anymore.
So why are you doing it?
I will get into that. I will get into that a little bit later.
You love to hold things to the end. I like it.
I do. I love to hold things in, including orgasms. So we'll talk about we will talk about my 2+ years of celibacy, why I'm doing it, how it's been working for me.
Yes, I need to hear.
Hint, it's working really well. But first, I want to talk about, back to Megan and Devon. I think that celibacy should be a personal choice for sure, but I feel like it should be done for you and not for a relationship, or not to either enhance, magnify, cleanse, or, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it should be something that you do for you. Maybe they did. Maybe it's just for themselves, to get themselves together before they went into holy matrimony. So I think that if Megan Good was my friend, and she is in my head, I would say this time around, now that she is maybe single, or at least not married to Devon, or won't be married to Devon, to try celibacy again, actually. And this time, see what it's like to do it for herself and not for a relationship outcome. You know what I mean? Like, just do that with no prize at the end.
Okay.
Not like I'm doing this and then we're going to get married and it's going to be great. Just do it with no prize at the end. Just as a state of being.
Great state of being until we meet.
Until she meets you?
Yep.
Girl, listen, let me call Megan and warn her. Let me take a picture.
Please.
I'm going to take a picture of you and send it to Megan good now.
Wait. I gotta give you my Drake face. Hold on.
The Drake face? Oh. All right, so we'll get into all of that later. Yeah. But right now, I wanna take some calls.
Oh, let's do it. All right.
Fun part.
Okay, so on the line, we have Brooklyn, China. Brooklyn, China, are you there?
Hi, guys. Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Hi, Brooklyn.
Hi. So my question is, I'm serious about being celibate and I like this guy, but I met him 17 days before, after I decided to be celibate. Could he be blocking me from healing, or could he also be teaching me things that I need to learn for the next?
So let me ask you this. You met him, you said 17 days into your celibacy?
Yes. And that was from traveling. I went to Florida.
Okay. So, but you guys aren't dating. You're not seeing each other. So he has nothing to do with your celibacy. He has nothing to do with anything. He's not a factor. So why are you factoring a man into your own personal journey when he's literally not a factor?
I personally, I'm spiritual. So I feel like things happen the way they happen. And if I met him and when I met him,
stop trying to make it fit.
Happened.
Listen to what I'm saying to you. If you're on a journey to healing, no one has anything to do with that. If you've already committed to celibacy, if you've already committed to being with yourself longer and figuring out what you need to heal, how you need to heal it without the interference of men and sex and relationships, then you stick to that no matter who you met 17 days into it doesn't matter. He has nothing to do with you. You guys are not, even if it was a husband or you're still a singular individual, even when you're no longer single. So whatever decisions you have to make for your single self, your singular individualism, should not depend on whether somebody comes into your life, leaves your life, does a somersault, pussy pops on a handstand. Nobody cares. It's all about what you need to do for you. The thing about women, we tend to factor men into our lives when you don't need to. You're putting somebody into a situation that has nothing to do with them. We do that a lot as women. We think about them, men I mean, in ways that they don't think about us, especially when a relationship is new or you barely even know somebody. You're already trying to figure out where he fits into your life. Maybe he don't fit nowhere, and that's fine. Everybody doesn't have to have a home inside of you. Did you hear what I just said?
Yeah, I'm writing it down actually too.
Everybody doesn't have to you don't have to make a home for every man you meet somewhere in your life. Some people are just people that you meet that don't have to mean things to you. It's okay to meet someone and not give them a job, a purpose, a meaning. It's okay to say hello and goodbye and not attach yourself to anybody, and to focus just on yourself and your celibacy and what you need to do for you. All right?
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you for your call today. And I hope that you wrote down some good notes and, good luck.
I definitely did. Thank you, Elisabeth.
You're welcome, honey.
Okay. So our caller we have on the line, his alias is Major Facts.
Oh, word?
Yeah. So let's see.
Well, he better have some.
Major Facts. Are you here?
Yes, I am.
And what's your question you have for Elisabeth?
Hey, Elisabeth. So I was using celibacy as a way to reset emotionally. By some other way, how do you reset emotionally? Because I'm not doing that celibacy stuff again.
Why aren't you doing the celibacy again? You didn't like it the first time or the last time you did it?
No, I felt like I've been there, done that, and I feel like I need to replace celibacy with something else, like a hobby or something like that, just to get my mind clear.
All right, so I don't want you to discount celibacy. I think celibacy is a great way to not just clear your mind, but your energy and your spirit. So don't count it out completely, but I think it's also really great that while someone's being celibate, that they're also having hobbies. You know what I mean? So you're not just sitting around twiddling your thumbs per se.
Of course not.
You may hate this, but I think working out is a great hobby. I think just even minimal working out or exercise, I should say, like walking and bike riding and things like this. I do that quite a bit to clear my mind. I also do a lot of cutting off. I do a lot of not talking to people. I enjoy my time alone. I think more people are afraid of being with themselves than anything. I think that's why celibacy is so scary for most people. Most of us validate ourselves based on our relationships with other people. And that's a problem. We validate our importance, how much we are loved, how we feel about ourselves against who's in our lives, how they treat us, and what kind of relationships we have with them. I think that's a major issue. So when trying to clear your mind and your space, I think it's important to advocate for some serious alone time. I think being separated from people is actually a good thing. I had a great time over the pandemic because I had a bigger excuse not to go to things and not to see people. Because usually my excuse was just like, nah. But now I have like, oh, bro, it's a pandemic. I can't go. When my son was little, it was always like, oh, my kid. But now he's grown, so I couldn't use that. So the pandemic was amazing for me. The point is, before I wrap up here, that I think it's important for you to be able to spend some time alone. Physical exertion is also good, not just because of the physicality of it, but because of what it gives you, the endorphins that it gives you, those really great feelings of accomplishment that you get after you finish a nice walk or a hike or a bike ride or whatever. But I want you to also consider celibacy again. It doesn't have to be like how long were you celibate before?
The first time I did it was for 10 months. And then the last time around was like 3 months.
Oh, okay. That's not bad. I'm in my second year, honey. I win, first of all. I win this competition. But I wouldn't count it out completely. It still is valuable, but educating yourself, I think, is also another one. Like, learning things you've always wanted to learn, and exercising and spending more time with yourself, getting to know yourself. Can you handle that?
That sounds like facts to me.
Major facts.
With that said, let's get to the next caller. On the line, we have Rhea. Rhea, are you there?
I am.
And what's your question for Elisabeth?
Awesome. Okay, so my question is, how do I overcome my insecurity that men will be turned off by my celibacy?
Oh, first of all, men see celibacy as a challenge, not a turnoff.
Right.
Yes.
And I have experienced
Take that in for a second. Because here's the thing. Being celibate, especially for a long period of time, it becomes almost like being a virgin all over again. And almost every man wants to be the one to break that celibacy. Like, okay, she's been staving off sex for 2, 3, 4. One person I know, it was 8 years for her. Couldn't believe that one. That was yeah. But the longer you're celibate, the more of a challenge it becomes to the man to be the one who breaks that celibacy, that history of celibacy. And if you've been abstaining, that means other men have been coming to you. You haven't found them attractive. And now it's like, this guy wants to be the one. Here's a problem with that. And I want you to clear your mind of the thought that it's a turn off, because it's actually not. Men love a challenge. Men just inherently, they love sports. They love competition. They love to know that there are other people involved because they want to be the best. They only hate it when they're not the best. FYI, a lot of men are not the best. But also, the point here is that you can get over that by realizing that men are love to be competitive. They're competitive beasts. And it's important to always remember that. Going into any dating situation, you can also date and be celibate at the same time. I don't think people realize. You realize that more often. Have you been dating at all?
Yeah, I have been. The last 2 years, I've been dating on and off.
And how has that been for you?
I think initially some guys are like kind of ends our conversation, but I go on a lot of dates. I'm very active dating wise. And you're right. I do feel like some guys approach it as if like, oh, you've been celibate this long, you haven't met me kind of thing. And I'm highly offended by that dynamic. It's because I already have boundary issues to begin with. So someone approaching me to begin with, pushing against those, pushing that boundary is very frustrating to me.
Here's what's so good about this, though. Here's what's so good about this is that by being celibate, you create a boundary that only someone who's genuinely interested in being with you as a person, not a sexual being, it helps you to automatically distinguish who's here for the sex and who's here for you.
Right.
This is why celibacy is so great. Because now automatically those who are turned off by it will leave right away. Those who see it as a challenge will turn you off by that kind of rhetoric. Oh, you haven't met me yet. Shut up. You're done with that, right? But then what about the 1%, the less than 1% of men you might meet in your life who said, okay, great. You know what? I'm celibate too. Or I've been celibate before and I'm willing to be celibate again. And sex is not number one on my list. I'm looking for someone who I can trust, someone who I can respect, somebody who I can build with and grow with as a person. That's the guy you're looking for. So celibacy becomes your marker. It becomes the boundary that people can't fake. See, people fake respecting your boundaries a lot because they're easy boundaries. Sex is a boundary you can't fake. Either you're cool with not having sex or you're not. You can't fake this. So I think that's great. Don't you think that that's great to be able to separate the reals from the fake?
I do. I think you're so right. And I don't think I've ever looked at it that way. I just think it's challenging, like for the men that think that this is a challenge and they still try to portray themselves as, oh, well, no, that's fine. Like, I'm totally fine with that. I think I have gotten pretty far, like dating guys for a few months even, only for them to finally admit that this actually isn't something I'm up for. And I think that can be very frustrating.
It can be frustrating if you're dating one person at a time. So you have to be dating multiple people. Aren't you dating multiple people at a time?
I'm not, but I don't think I have a capacity to, honestly.
You think that you don't, but you actually do, because it gives you, number one, it gives them less time. So like, for instance, what you shouldn't have the capacity for is to date one person for 3, 4, 5 months just to find out he's not okay with celibacy. Having 2, 3 people max that you can go in between. Number one, you're testing out different things at one time. No one has all the time in the world to waste. Okay. Women don't. Men have more time than we do to waste biologically. Just a fact. So if you've got 3 guys going, and if one guy says, "Oh, I can't do this," it's not challenging to you. You're like, "Great, get out of here. I got 2 other people anyway." Right? The part that you should not have space for is dating one freaking person for 6 months or so before you finally realize he's not okay with not having sex with you. You have to date multiple people. You have to keep your dance card full. It's a very old-fashioned way of dating. It dates back to Bridgerton times, where there was a dance card and a woman was expected to be dating several men at one time. If she dated one man, it meant that they had to get married. This is a very old-fashioned way of doing things. So go back to the old-fashioned regency of it all and make sure your dance card stays full. So that way, if someone bows out, you don't feel as if you've wasted months and months of your time. Okay?
Right. That's true.
That's true. That's why I said it. Thank you so much for your call today. I've got to jump, but I hope that this really helped you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. Bye.
Those were great questions from our friends, but now let's get a question from social.
Okay.
And I'll read it out. So we have Sleepless in Atlanta. Can you date during celibacy? And how do you navigate the do's and don'ts?
Okay, great. I mean, and this is something I think I mentioned earlier to you, at least, that a lot of people don't realize you can date and be celibate. You can be in an actual relationship and still not have sex. Sex is not a guarantee. It shouldn't be a guaranteed, especially before you're like committed. Yeah. For those who want to be married, you know what I mean? Like whatever your commitment line is, it might be living together. It might be engaged. It might be, 2 years in, whatever it is. I think for this question, the do's and don'ts are really simple. The don't is don't have sex. Okay. Right? Any kind of sex.
Okay. But maybe the not having sex is why they're sleepless in Atlanta.
You got jokes. But no, sex and sleep. I was going to lie just right now because sex and sleep are connected.
Yes.
There's actually a new special on Netflix about this.
Oh, really?
It's called The Principles of Pleasure. Okay. And it talks about, basically how important sex is. And it kind of comes into our sleep as well because it releases different chemicals into the body that helps you to sleep. Anyway, so I think that for anyone who's celibate, who is dating, the obvious don't is to not have sex. If your commitment is to celibacy. Okay. If that's your commitment, follow your commitment. And then you have to define what that means for you. Sex, I mean. Whether it's like no vaginal, no anal, but maybe blowjobs, it's completely up to that person's definition of what their sexlessness is. Listen.
Now we talking.
Listen, I think that if it goes in a hole, it's sex.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But that's me, and that's my
yours.
definition.
Gotcha.
Someone else's definition may be different. I'm not here to tell you what your personal definition of this should be. I think while dating and celibate, it's important to let somebody know from the get-go that you're celibate, why you're celibate, how important it is to you, and that you're not looking to be talked out of it if you're not looking to be talked out of it. Sometimes you may be tired of being celibate. It might have been 4 years already. You might be looking for someone to talk you out of it. I mean, you might be looking for someone to help you break this streak. And if that's what you want, you have to say that. Whoever you are, whatever you want, whatever you do, you have to say that up front.
I get it. I don't know if it's for me though, but I do get it. I want to hear about your 2 years of celibacy, but how'd you feel about these callers?
The callers I thought were interesting because, especially hearing from men and women, people who are inside of their celibacy wanting to know how to interact with other people outside of it. And then we had a caller who was tired of celibacy altogether and wanted to know what else he could do.
That's a fact.
So I had fun with them today. Major facts.
Yeah. That's dope. So now tell me your experience.
Okay. So as I mentioned, I've been celibate for over 2 years.
Okay.
And the first year and a half of that, I was actually in a relationship, the tail end of it. But that relationship was so toxic for me. And he was such a horrible person to be with on a deeper level, because he was a narcissist. So the like a serious narcissist, like the mind melding was insane over the years we were together. So I lost complete sight of who I was, who I am, who I was supposed to be, and just my entire life. Like, it got really dark with him. It got really, 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 really dark. So coming out of that relationship, it was important for me to not engage sexually with him. And then after leaving the situation, which has only been 5 months now, after leaving the situation, continuing that. Because what happened during that first year and a half of celibacy, and then eventually not seeing him, and then just kind of slowly drifting away from him, was that I found myself. And that's something I'd never seen myself before. I'd never seen myself without other people before.
Oh, wow.
I'd never seen that. I spent 22 years without human touch. And while everyone else was freaking, and this is from before the pandemic. I started this before the pandemic. So by the time the pandemic hit, I was already into my celibacy and my don't touch me phase. Okay. So when the pandemic hit, I got that great excuse, So then when I moved, to the East Coast, supposedly to be closer to him, I ended up not seeing him at all and not being with him at all. Because I found that when I found myself by myself, I really loved it. I loved being able to build a new, different, better, healthier version of myself without the interactions of other people. That included family, friends, and my relationship. So now that I'm past the 2-year mark, I have reached a certain amount of clarity. It's like when people say when they fast, like Ramadan, my Muslim friends are fasting, people go without stuff for Lent. It creates this detox that sometimes you have these visions and these like come to Jesus moments, or whatever you call them, where you click into something else. And for me, I clicked into something way higher and beyond human connection.
Oh, wow.
Way beyond. So even now, I limit my human connections and the time that I spend with other people. I find people to be distracting. I find relationships distracting. I find sex very distracting. I find that I need that energy for myself. I find that I need that time for myself. I find that I need to give myself all the things that I give other people. So the love, the kindness, the patience, the chance after chance to do it right, I need to give that to myself, not to men, not to anyone else in my life. So in the last 2 years, I have been actually more emotionally, spiritually successful than I've been in my entire life. And that's really great. I think the hard part about this for me, and it's not really like hard, but it's interesting to me, is that I love celibacy so much. It gives me a certain amount of power also. Okay. Watching the men in my life go nuts because they can't get to me. And because now I see things very clearly. I see people very clearly because I'm not connecting with you on a sexual level. So now we have to connect here. Now we have to connect here. Now I'm looking at how, we have to connect internally now. It's not a physical connection anymore. Now the connection is deeper than that. And if you can't connect with me where I am right now, then we never have a connection again. So I've been telling people, I told my ex-boyfriend the other day, like, you're never going to have the same access to me that you had before. You'll never have access to me like I gave it to you before. Never. Because I'm not the same person. I'm different. You've never met me, actually. You've never met me. You don't even know this person. And so that's my attitude now with all the men in my life. You don't know me. You know nothing about me.
And so that time being celibate has given you that clarity to realize that.
And that power and that self-worth and all the things that self-love women like to talk about a lot, but most women have never seen it. If you can't be with yourself for an extended period of time, you don't love yourself. If you can't spend years without a man, without a partner, without other people, you don't really love yourself. If you can't do it, if it scares you, you don't love yourself. Not really. It goes super deep, and I love it. This dick detox has been the best thing that I've ever done for myself. Detox. It's a dick detox.
Oh, that's fire.
So that's my story. So, clap for me because I'm freaking doing great.
Yeah, I'll give you 2 claps for the amount of years you've been celibate.
Oh, and I'm planning on going for more years.
Really?
Because when you have sex with someone, your souls are tied. Like, whether you like it or not, you're now tied to this person in a different in a very carnal way.
Wait, we talking about like bed restraints ties? Like that's
listen, I got a trick bag that has handcuffs and everything.
Yeah, that also has dust on it.
It does have dust. Don't you worry about what has dust on it and what don't have dust on it. But also, like soul ties, like, you can't stop, especially for women, because women are internal, right? So sex for us is an internal process. Sex for you is an external process. When women internalize sex for that reason, you guys can just wash it off in the sink and go on with your day. We bask in that like so much longer than you guys. You're laughing because it's true. Where you literally can plop it in the sink, wash it off, put it back in your pants, and just walk out the door. Meanwhile, all your DNA and shit is inside of our bodies.
Why are the guys you talking about are taking bird baths? Like,
sometimes
you got in the shower.
Sometimes you got shit to do. Like, you can't jump in the shower. Sometimes you got to hurry up and get back to work. Okay. Sometimes it's just a quickie. You got to get back to, I don't know.
I feel you.
But you can. I've seen men plop it in the sink.
Nah.
I mean, men who are, built can put it in the sink. Yeah. Men who don't have it can't put it in the sink.
Okay, don't shame some of
I'm
the
not. I'm
listeners,
just stating major facts. Okay? If you are not well endowed, you may not be able to plop it in the sink. But if you are well endowed, you can just plop it in the sink and rinse it off. If you're not well endowed, you may have to take a whole shower.
All right.
Okay. So I'm just saying that from personal experience, there are men in the world who get to just plop it in the sink and wash it off. Women don't have that. It is an internal process, right? So we internalize a lot of things. And you are laying inside of our bodies where our major organs are. Think about that.
Yeah.
You could literally hurt me and I have to go to the doctor and then my pelvis is tilted backwards because you done hit. What was that?
I'm just listening.
Like, aha. You're tilting my pelvis, like you're making me bleed. I have to go to the doctor now. Like these things have happened to me. I remember when I got my pelvis tilted for the first time. It hurts. Like it's a serious, I have to go to the doctor and like have him do things to, you know. So it's a different process for us. And our souls get tied, maybe more so ours than yours, but it does happen. We are a receptacle also for all of your energy. Mm-hmm. So if you're having a bad day, and then also for all the other people you're having sex with, you're giving us all of that. Yeah. We're receiving. You're giving, we're receiving.
And I was definitely playing around. Like every time I've been intimate with someone, there is a connection. And it's like, even if we pretend if it isn't, if we just move on, like you still have that connection. So I do get what you're saying.
You can't undo that.
Yeah.
This is how I feel about celibacy overall. I think that it's with anything, with our bodies, dealing with our bodies, celibacy is a very personal choice. Mm-hmm. And how we decide to perform our celibacy is a personal choice. I think that each of us are our own soulmates. I think that celibacy should be done for us, not for others. I think that we should do it without the expectation of a reward at the end. I think it's important to understand that celibacy, especially once you get into it, it's a really awesome thing. And once you get past the scary bits of it, I think it's important to know if you decide to break it, that you do it for yourself. See, and this is the hard part about celibacy, I think, for a lot of people, is getting out of it, because it's really dope. I know you don't believe me, Alex.
I do believe you, actually. I do.
It's really dope. Once you get past that initial 2 weeks or whatever
it's like a diet. Yeah. Like the hard part is the beginning.
It's like fasting, and you really don't want you don't want to chew the fat anymore. You don't want the excess. And you have no more issues, because all of your problems are always attached to other people. And so without this sexual attachment, this interpersonal attachment, you get rid of a lot of your issues. So now there's no one to argue with. There's no problems. Everything's great. And you have this new boundary that people can't easily cross. I think it's important to know that if people want to break their celibacy, women especially, I have to say, because I'm a woman, so especially as a woman, I think about this often. If and when I break my celibacy, it can't be because I think I'm going to be with this person. Because relationships end. There's only two ways out. We're either going to die together or we're going to break up. And most of the people that we know, we would not die with. If we're really honest.
Yeah.
I think it's important for people to decide from the get-go, do I want to die with this person? And if I do, and if that person wants to have that kind of relationship with me, they should be willing to wait. You can go into your relationship and have no sex for the first 6 months of it to a year. If this person really loves you and cares about you and is willing to like literally die with you. We're talking The Notebook, final scene, 100 years old, in the nursing home, holding hands. Like if this is the person that I'm going to be with, they don't care whether we don't have sex for the first year of our relationship or not. They don't care, because they're not here for that. They're here for everything else that you have to offer. If that's not the case, then make sure that you're doing it for you, because you want to feel this kind of pleasure with this person in this moment, no matter what happens next. That's my last thoughts. I have nothing else to say about celibacy. Thanks for listening to Asking for a Friend. I'll be publishing every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. You can send me questions or comments to askingforafriend@blavity.com. And don't forget, spread the word, tell a friend. I could have been a housewife in New Jersey. Now look at me. Now I gotta work. Energy! I know. I was like, oh shit. Y'all don't watch Bridgerton? I'm so funny.